The score was tied in the 10th frame with Roger Kaputnik's chance for fame. He was the last man to deliver a ball. Get a strike, was our call. Now it's Roger's turn to bowl. With almighty confidence, he sticks his thumb in the finger holes. From the crowd, not a mutter. Please, old Rog, don't feed the gutter. His breath was bad and really stunk. Our friend Rog was mighty drunk. His staggering form brought great alarm as Rog showed off his flabby arm. He threw the ball with lightning speed. A pin or two is all we need. Not one pin down or even two. And from the team, a sickening boo. For all you idiots, he threw a gutter. Hopefully you enjoyed that crazy little poem. It was written in 1968 or 1969 by Eddie John and myself, Jim Warda. We wrote it as part of a package of items that we submitted to Mad Magazine. Now, to the best of my recollection, we never did get a response, so obviously it was never published. Let's take a look at that poem. It was typed by my mother, Hilda Warda. And we really had a lot of fun writing it. And I'm so happy that I saved it all these years. It's obvious that bowling has been on my mind since I was a small boy. And for those that know me well, they know that bowling has played a role during most of my life. Unfortunately, I've probably forgotten more than I know. I can't seem to clearly remember every event, every name, every detail. So based on what I do remember, based on the items that I have, and based on my overall perspective, Warda's World Films presents Bowling in Me, or capital B, period, capital I, period, capital M, period. The bowling ball of life contains important elements of my life, such as achievement, education, family, friends, and romance. And as we touch on the elements of the bowling ball of life, it will not necessarily be in chronological order, primarily because of overlapping events and intermingled particulars. But before we get into those particulars, let's touch on the beginning. Eddie John and I started bowling in a junior league in 1969. Although it may have been a year or two earlier, I'm not entirely sure. We started this junior league at an historic bowling alley called Bowling Lanes on Broadway Avenue in Chicago. Yes, Bowling Lanes was the name of the place. Every Saturday morning, it was very exciting. Uncle Eddie John would pick us up, take us to junior league, and bring us home. To this day, I'm really not sure why we started bowling at Bowling Lanes. I really have no idea, but I'm glad we did. Now, one of the interesting things about those days in bowling was that we had to keep our own scores. We didn't have any automatic scorekeepers. Take a look at these two sheets, which were not necessarily from that time period, where Eddie made a comment and I made a doodle. So those days were fun. Keep your own score sheets and doodle away. Now let's take a look at a couple trophies from those days at Bowling Lanes. These three trophies are the oldest trophies that I have. They're from the 1969-1970 bowling seasons. Those were the first 2 years that Eddie John and I bowled in league, or should I say junior league. This trophy here was a team we bowled on in 1969. We bowled with Bruce Andrews, Marty Mintzer, Allen Ginsberg, and of course Eddie and I. We did make the playoffs that first year, but we lost by 17 pins, and thus we won this trophy for second place team. This trophy was the second year we bowled, and we bowled with Chuck Goldberg, Steve Solomon, and Charlie Wheeler, and of course Eddie and I. And we made the playoffs again. Unfortunately, we lost by 6 pins, and we won the second place team trophy. This trophy was an individual trophy for me. That was the year I bowled my first 600 series. I had a 606 series. In that year, I averaged 156 and Eddie averaged 135, if my memory serves me correct. Now bear in mind, I was only 14 years old when we started in 69 and Eddie was 13, so we were just youngsters then. Now we have some great memories from these times. Number one, all the people we bowled with. Number two, we bowled at a very historic bowling alley called Bowling Lanes. Yes, Bowling Lanes. It was on Broadway in Chicago. And lastly, probably the best memory of all was every Saturday morning, it was very exciting to get up and know that we were going to bowl in the junior league. Eddie John's father, Uncle Eddie, would pick us up, take us to the league, and bring us back home. Bowling, junior leagues, Eddie, me, Bowling Lanes. In the sport of bowling, the single greatest achievement is a perfect game, a 300, and the feeling, the exhilaration of a perfect release of the ball rolling down the lane in perfect rotation, and then demolishing or punishing the pins is a feeling that's really hard to put into words. Fortunately, I've had that feeling a handful of times. One time at Gabby Hartnett Lanes, another time at Downingtown Lanes in Philadelphia, and other times in practice in various locations. One humorous story was a time at All-Star Lanes where Eddie had been working there part-time, I think primarily as a mechanic, and he worked in the back. Well, I was on, I want to say it was lane 1 or 1 and 2, or something like that. And every time I'd throw the ball, release it down the lane, magically all the pins would fall down. So he was behind and back, and if I left a pin or two, he was knocking them down. So it looked like I was getting a strike every time. Now, to the trained eye, it would have looked a little phony, but if you're trying to impress the girl on the next lane or some other people who don't know anything about bowling, it was very impressive and it looked pretty cool. For the perfect game achievement, there is an award. But let's first take a look at some of the common awards that I received over the years. Now, these common awards are common to all people, and I'm sure everybody has very much the same as I do. But let's take a look. Now let's take a look at the BPAA 300 ring. The BPAA was the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, which quite frankly I'm not sure still exists anymore. But this ring was given to me in sometime in the late 70s, early 80s. I really don't recall exactly. After I bowled a 300 at Gabby Hartnett's. Next is the ABC 300 ring, which is my most prized possession for individual achievement. Now, this ring was very special to me because it was a 300 ring, bowled in the centennial year of the ABC. Now, that distinguishes it from many other types of 300 ABC rings. Lastly is one unique award, a jacket modeled here by my daughter Alexis. This jacket, along with cash, was for winning the 2011 Lake County Team Championship. This team championship helped me achieve recognition for placement on the Bowler of the Year list in Lake County, Illinois. Although I attended Von Steuben High School in Chicago, and Eddie attended Lane Tech High School in Chicago, we did spend a lot of time together at Gabby Hartnett's bowling lanes. Can you imagine the two of us being serious bowlers? I love that photo. Here's also a couple newspaper clips from 1972. We would generally bowl over the weekends at Gabby Hartnett's, and occasionally we stopped in, and I think it was Tuesday nights, to watch the men bowl in the Assyrian Men's Bowling League. Actually, we did on occasion sub as well in that league. We knew a lot of the bowlers because they were from the Syrian Church, Syrian Apostolic Church of the East that we attended. That was great stuff. Let's look at a couple more memories. These three trophies are from 1971. We bowled at Gabby Hartnett Recreation in Lincolnwood, Illinois. Now, Gabby Hartnett Recreation was jointly owned by the famous baseball player Gabby Hartnett, and it opened in 1946. This trophy here was a team trophy, and our team was Glenn Burdine, Mark Giannichini, Eddie John, and myself, Jim Warda. This trophy was for the highest score ever recorded by a junior team at Gabby Hartnett. We had a score of 890. Now, obviously, that score had been destroyed since then, especially with the current modern day scoring conditions. But at the time, it was the highest score ever recorded. This trophy was a personal trophy. I had the high average in the league at 168. This trophy in the middle is the highly esteemed, highly desirable, perfect attendance trophy. 1971, Gabby Hartnett Recreation. These two trophies are from 1971. There was a tournament at that time called Father-Son. I think today they call it Adult-Child. And I entered that year. Unfortunately, my father, James, could not bowl. He had bowled earlier in his life, but he had back problems, so he could not bowl. So a gentleman named John Joseph bowled with me. John was the carpet man, as they used to say. He owned Empire Carpets, a small business in Chicago, and he was a very avid bowler, and he was actually a very good bowler. He bowled quite often in the Assyrian Men's League. So we bowled the first round as a doubles team at Gabby Hartnett, and we combined for a plus 136 team score. So we won the first round at Gabby Hartnett. Here's the trophy. And after winning the first round, we moved on to the city section. And that was at All-Star Lanes in Skokie, Illinois. And we won that level. We were 84 pins positive, above average, in the city section, and we won that as well. So we proceeded from Gabby Hartnett first round, and we won the second round. Unfortunately, after that, well, I don't have a trophy, so that tells you that. Anyway, great memory. Doubles tournament, father-son, adult-child, whichever they called it back then. I'm not really absolutely sure. 1971. It sure appears that bowling was on my mind toward the end of high school. Take a look at the Von Steuben High School yearbook, and it says, I guess the only thing I can say about that photo is I wish I wasn't so follically challenged and had that kind of hair today. To be brutally honest, I was overwhelmed entering Bradley University. I had applied there and was accepted with a friend, Chuck Goldberg, who lived down the street from us on Drake Avenue. But it didn't take long for me to figure out that I was not prepared academically, and I really didn't have the maturity to enter such a quality university such as Bradley. Although I had undeserved support from my parents, emotionally and financially, my academic performance was miserable. As a result, some friends and I transferred from Bradley to Northern Illinois University. Now, eventually I did actually make Dean's List at Northern and graduated from Northern. On the positive side, I had some real good times at Bradley, met some very interesting people, began to mature quite a bit, and made some really good friends. For example, Ron and Sharon, who I still do see occasionally. Maybe more importantly, I had the experience of being on the collegiate bowling team and made the team as a freshman. So in retrospect, it was probably a mistake to go to Bradley, as it cost my parents a little extra money. But out of all the good things that came out of it as well, I guess fate took me there, and fate took me to Northern, and the rest was history. Although my time at Bradley was filled with turmoil and some disappointment and some great growing experiences, probably the highlight was making the collegiate bowling team as a freshman. These trophies are from 1974 and 1975. I received them while bowling on the Bradley University collegiate bowling team. Now, the colleges and universities in the Midwest had regional tournaments. So this particular trophy on my right and your left is from Southern Illinois University Classic in 1974. and Bradley University finished second in that tournament. So this trophy was for second place team. This trophy in the middle, the larger one, was from 1975, and it was from the Eastern Illinois University Panther Classic. And Bradley University won that tournament, and this was a team event, first place tournament trophy. This trophy here on your right is from that same Panther Classic tournament, and I did all around 7th place singles. Now, these university and collegiate tournaments were pretty large at the time. There were schools from all over the Midwest that would attend these tournaments. And it was a lot of fun because we traveled as a team, and the team was actually fairly successful. Bradley had a very good team for a number of years, and I was fortunate to make the team as a freshman, and I enjoyed the couple years that I did bowl on the team. So 1974, 1975, collegiate tournament victories. Have met a number of people over the years through bowling. Some of them real characters. Now, not all of them became good friends, but a few come to mind, which I will mention. Carl Berger was an outstanding bowler, even as he aged into his 80s. Carl took a liking to Eddie and I, and he had quite an outgoing personality and was a real character. He had tremendous ability, was a great instinctive bowler, helped Eddie and I a lot, and was rumored to hand mop the lanes occasionally to increase the scores. Buddy Bomar was an outstanding bowler in his day. In fact, he's ranked as one of the top 20 bowlers of the entire 20th century. Buddy is in the Hall of Fame, allegedly invented the dots on the bowling lanes, and he had the distinction of the only bowler to win the infamous Peterson Classic at least 2 times. He'd occasionally come into Gabby Hartnett's, and we had the pleasure to speak with him, and it was a real pleasure to have met him. Chuck Goldberg was a good friend of mine through high school and through college. We shared a dorm room together. We applied at Bradley together. Chuck also made the collegiate bowling team. We shared a lot of common interests, and Chuck had a great sense of humor, was a writer and journalist. Don Bart was another real character. He was an ex-Chicago policeman who eventually opened up a pro shop at Gabby Hartnett's and allowed Eddie and I to work for him briefly. He did move his pro shop later on, but it was quite an experience working with him and knowing him, as he was yet another real character. There was a gentleman, John Odrobniak, who we bowled with in a traveling league and at Gabby Hartnett. John wanted to go professional. He had a fund, and we contributed to sponsor him to go on tour. Now, in 1986, he made a televised event, and he won that event by beating 3 Hall of Fame bowlers. He gained national exposure, and unfortunately, he never won another tournament again, and we lost track of him. But it was quite an experience to see him grow and win a national event. There were a number of other ex-Chicago cops that we bowled with, and I'm not going to mention their names, although a couple were named John, and they were also real characters. And one funny story is, when I lived on Drake Avenue, I came out of the house one day, and this really is actually how it happened. A squad car comes squealing down Drake Avenue with his flashes going like crazy. Wee, 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 wee. And he stops suddenly. He rolls down his window. It's a fella named John. And he yells out at me, "How did you bowl last night?" And I responded, and he said, "Great, see you later." Rolled up his window and took off screaming down the street. That's were the kind of characters we bowled with. A lot of fun. These two trophies are from the 1984-1985 bowling season. That was the year I bowled in the Abbott Bowling League. Now, stepping back, I joined Abbott in November 1981, and in the summer of '84, one of my coworkers encouraged me to join the bowling league. So I bowled with him and some other fellow Abbott people during that year. Now, fortunately, we won the league. And this trophy here on your left was the team trophy for winning the league. This other trophy was from the same year. It was high series that I attained in the league, 694, and I averaged 191, I believe. Now, the Abbott League was at a bowling alley called Bowlarium in North Chicago on Sheridan Road. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore. It was a good time. After we won the league, I never bowled in the Abbott League again. So that was it. 1984-85, Abbott Bowling League. Lastly, and most importantly, was the infamous Who Cares team. There was Don Silva, the artist. Take a look at this sketch he did for me. Now, the story of Don was we were bowling one year at Diversey River, and he had a real bad night. So he came out into the parking lot. He took his ball, his bag, his shoes, and he just threw everything right into the river, and he said, "I hate bowling, and I'm never bowling again." And as far as I know, he never bowled again. Then there were other team members, Herbie Carino, Jim Canebox Kane, Dave Sandyman Sandalance, Ed Shy John, and myself, Jim Bim Warda. We also had a sub on a couple occasions, Dick Zashek. The Who Cares team existed for a number of years and bowled in a number of leagues in different locations with a different combination of bowlers. The team had good chemistry, camaraderie, was fun, and generally did fairly well. Let's take a look at a couple old league sheets. These two trophies were from the 1978-1979 season. Unfortunately, I don't know who was exactly on that team, but I am sure it was at least Eddie John and myself, and maybe the infamous Who Cares team. Now, this trophy here was the league championship trophy, so our team obviously won the league. Now, the league was the Lincolnwood Lions at Gabby Hartnett, sponsored by Electra Realty. Now, Electra Realty was where Eddie's mom, Emma John, worked, and she was a real estate broker. So she sponsored us that year. And as some of you may recall, Eddie and I also worked there for a short time after we each got our real estate licenses. This trophy was from that same league. I had high game that year, 268. So 1978-79, Electra Realty, Emma John, Eddie John, me, Lincolnwood Lions, Gabby Hartnett. This trophy was from the 1980-81 season. The Who Cares team that year of Eddie John, Herbie Carino, Don Silva, and myself bowled at the Brunswick Recreation Center in Niles, Illinois. And we won the league that year, and that's what this trophy is for. Now, I don't recall why our averages were relatively low that year, but the whole league had low averages that year, so I don't really remember why it was, but we were all averaging like 150, 160. So in any event, we won the league. Who cares? 1980-81. Lastly, there's probably a lot of other people I could have mentioned that I met through bowling, but the ones I did mention are the few that come to mind that really stood out to me, at least at this time. Over the years, before and after marriage, I was fortunate to meet a number of interesting women. Now, as you can imagine, over the years I would have met a lot, but here's a handful worth mentioning. For some reason, way back when I was talking about bowling lanes in 1969 or so, I had this little crush on this girl named Marla. And for some reason, I still think of her and her name on occasion. Now, I was only 13 or 14 years old, and why I still think of her, I have no idea. When I went to Bradley, I met a girl named Anne Marie. She was on the women's bowling team. She had long black hair, beautiful blue eyes. I really fell for her. And in reality, she was probably considered my first love. We dated off and I really have fond memories of our time together, both on and off the lanes. During the Abbott Bowling League in 1984, I met a woman named Teresa. Now, Teresa was a friend of a friend, and we kind of hit it off, and we really didn't have a lot of common interests, but we enjoyed spending time together. So I spent a lot of time with her after bowling during that season, and we definitely had a good time. It unfortunately did not last a real long time, but I have good memories of that relationship. Early on at Bertrand Lanes, I met a girl named Sandy, and I knew her for quite a while before we started actually having any kind of a relationship. And we spent a lot of time together, did some things that were very interesting, and we enjoyed each other's company. She was a very bright girl, and unfortunately, it eventually ended. We just didn't have enough in common. In a mixed league at Bertrand's, I met a girl named Cindy, and I really liked her, and I really fell for her. She had long brown hair, had beautiful eyes, and we really spent some quality time together. I really enjoyed every minute I spent with her, and I really thought we were developing into a serious long-term relationship. Unfortunately, it did come to an end. As long as we're talking about women, I'd love to talk about other women in my life, but hey, we'll save that for another conversation. Realizing how immature I was when I entered Bradley, and by today's standards, I was quite a doofus, I was really fortunate to have great family support. What you see here are actual samples of letters that I received in my early days of college. Now, in those days, I didn't have any internet access. We didn't have any emailing. We didn't have any cell phones. We didn't have any instant messaging. We didn't have any social media. So we had to rely on the old-fashioned method of communication, writing letters. Now, we could make a phone call, which we did on occasion, but it was long distance and it was at a premium cost. Most of the letters I received were from my mother, some from my sister Karen, and a few from other family members. We talked about bowling, we talked about my dorm room, we talked about my studies, we talked about what was going on at home, we talked about everything from pets, the cats, who was doing what to who, and how everybody was. Now, if you'll allow me, I'd like to share a few excerpts from these letters, and I hope you will enjoy it.
Dear Jimmy College, poor sister has the bathroom garbage piled up with nobody to take it down. I put your animals under the rafters and covered them. Don't forget, tell me everything. Well, gotta go. Be good, stay out of trouble, and study. Love you tons, Karen.
Hi, kid. Jim, we are really proud of you of making the Bradley bowling team. You should have heard Johnny when I called him. He made all kinds of noises like Yahoo, etc., and was really glad. He was quite excited and happy for you. Of course, we all are too. You know, of course, in order to stay on any athletic team in college, your grades will have to be rather high. But then I know they will. I really believe you're going to make a good showing. See you, Mom.
Jimmy, as you heard, I was going bowling with Uncle John Sunday. Well, I did really good, averaging about 152 for 6 games. He said I had a real flaw. I was like this instead of this. Well, we already made plans to go again next Sunday. He's got me way right. He also said I was throwing a lazy ball and had to put more snap in my turnover. Oh. Guess what? I asked a chick to go bowling with me, but she said she hates bowling and wouldn't even go bowling with Burt Reynolds. Yours, duddingly, Eddie. Keep the faith! Wah!
Dear Jimmy, congratulations, you made the bowling team. You've only been at Bradley for about 2 weeks and you made the team. That's the spirit, James. I hope you do good in all your subjects, but I think you'll do good because you're a smart fox. It was nice to hear from you so soon, and take care. Love, Litza.
Dear Jimmy, we're in Los Angeles now. We got here yesterday afternoon. The hotel is real nice. We had room service for breakfast. Last night we had dinner at a place called King James. It was on a street called Restaurant Row. There's about 30 restaurants all together in a row. Today we drive to Beverly Hills and Hollywood. Love, Karen. P.S. My husband says hello.
Jimmy, next Wednesday I'm trying out for the bowling team at school. The best team in the city. I've been shooting hot lately, a 509 and a 483 plus 2 160s in practice. Terry seems to think I have a good chance to make the team as a sub. I might get a promotion in ROTC, and I believe I have made first string drill platoon. I'll find out tomorrow. My mother just shouted to turn down the radio. Oh well. Take it easy, don't study too hard, and don't win too much money off the 9 and 10-year-olds. Love, Eddie. P.S. Tell Chuck to slow down.
Hi, son. Karen and Dick spent their first night at their apartment last night. I can't wait for Pickles to get the heck out of the house. She's adorable, but she is driving us nuts. She does plunkies wherever she feels like it when she doesn't want to use the litter box. As you probably know, some time ago she clawed the wallpaper in the hallway going upstairs. Clawed and ate the wallpaper in the kitchen. And last night, guess what? She tore a big chunk out of the wallpaper in the foyer. High-class cat has to play with $90 wallpaper. They've got to take her tonight, and that's it. Love, Mom.
Dear Jen, how nice. You put a light of sunshine in my life the day I got your flowers. I had a 415 series last week. Have to be better than that. This year I started with a 145 average. Hope I keep it up. Love from all, Auntie Holland.
Dear Jimbo, I still don't have my voice. Uncle Eddie and Boona are quite happy because I haven't been hollering at them. I really think they miss it. Boona bowled on the Asaria League Tuesday, 508. He beat Uncle Baba, so Uncle Baba said if he told me he would never bring him home again. Love always, Auntie Emma.
Dear Mom, The team isn't taking me to Eastern and Indiana colleges this weekend. I am very disappointed. I'm trying to do so much for the team, but it's like I'm a nobody. They are going to take 6 guys to the schools and will stay overnight at one of the schools. The rest of the team will stay home and bowl Illinois State College, who is out for revenge because of the beating they took from us in our first conference match against them. It is no big deal bowling them because the big match is the traveling teams meet against the other 2 schools. Love, Jimmy. Dear Mom, against Illinois State on Saturday, Chuck and I tied for high series of the team, and we led them to another beating. And think, we weren't even bowling our best men. They went to Eastern already. The other team had its 5 best men, and we still beat them. Their team is combined of old men, with the youngest being 26 years old. One guy's about 31, and they are bowling young kids like me. It doesn't seem like they are in college. Love, Jimmy. Dear Mom, I think this mustache really does wonders for me. A girl who went on the trip to Indiana last weekend with the team thought I was a senior. I've seen her around the bowling alley before, but I never knew her until I met her on the trip. She is a sophomore here and has a boyfriend, so don't think I really like her or anything. She is another friend I have now obtained. I couldn't lie to her and tell her I was a senior. I told her the truth, that I was a sophomore. Love, Jimmy. Dear Mom, I have to bring back my sport coat and a tie because I'm planning to go to homecoming on the weekend of February 24th. Well, anyway, I would like to go. I'm going to ask this girl I like a real lot. She is the one I'll probably have a date with next Friday. I saw her last Saturday night and we had a great time. She bowls on the girls' team, but I never knew her too well until this semester. She is good friends with a couple of people on the team, and she told them that I was really nice, and that if I asked her out again, she would go. I think my luck has finally changed on this campus with the opposite sex. Her name is Anne Marie. She is a beautiful girl with long black hair and big gorgeous blue eyes. It makes me feel real good inside when I think she will go out with me. Love, Jimmy.
Dear Jimmy, hi boobs, how are you? Everyone here is fine. Sorry for the formal typewritten letter, but I'm taking typing in school, so I have to practice. I'm thinking about joining a bowling league next year and show you and Donnie and Joseph up. You guys think you're so great. Well, take care, and everyone says hi to boobs. Keep studying and do good. Love, Susie.
Jimmy, how are you lately? That's good. My bowling average is still slipping, 138, so I'm up only 5 pins over last year. I've been experimenting with my speed control lately, and I believe it will help me with my game. Or at least I hope it will. My team is going to get a trophy for Cellar Dweller. Wahoo! I'm sending a lucky dollar for bowling only. I want you to use it and see what kind of scores with good money. If you let me know if it's lucky, I'll send you one every week for bowling allowance. I'm going to get 2 more ribbons in ROTC Drill Platoon and Colored Guard. Waha! Have you watched Kung Fu lately? Good luck and good bowling. Love, Eddie.
Dear Mom, how are you? I'm not feeling too bad, except for bowling tryouts, which is 2/3 over. I've bowled 10 games so far out of the required 15. I'll finish up tomorrow. I've bowled so bad, it's ridiculous. Fellow members have tried to lift my spirits so I could bowl better. I really appreciate their concern. I now know that they really want to see me make the team. This is the first time I have ever had the feeling of being destroyed. This year's team is very weak, and it was a snap to make the team, but I blew it. I just can't picture myself not being on the team while bowlers with lesser ability will be on. It is going to take a miracle to make it. I need to average 200 tomorrow for 5 games. The thing I need most is confidence, which I lost during the first part of tryouts. Well, enough about bowling. Love, Jimmy. Dear Mom, my first night on the bowling team at team practice, I really felt good. I hate to repeat myself, but it really made me feel good to be on the team again. And on top of that, I bowled great. I shot a 571 series, which is a 190 average. The team has a practice match next Friday at Carl Sandburg College, and I think I'm going to bowl in it. I'm pretty excited. Love, Jimmy. One thing that gave me great satisfaction was coaching a junior league. I coached the junior league at Bertrand's in Waukegan for 4 years. It really was a lot of fun and rewarding to help the kids, including my own, to enjoy the game a little bit more and hopefully be a little better bowlers. To further help the kids bowl better, I decided to put this book together on bowling basics. The title was An Introduction to Bowling Performance for Junior Bowlers, and it covered a variety of topics, everything from basics of bowling to mental preparation, bowling considerations for girls, for boys, common mistakes, and many other items. The intent, obviously, was to help junior bowlers learn about the game and bowl better. Our plan was, and when I say our, I mean Bertrand's and myself, was to submit this to AMF, hopefully to gain their approval and support. Unfortunately, after I stopped coaching, I never really finished the book. Maybe I still will. For some unknown reason, I was blessed with a little bit of ability and a little bit of coordination for the sport of bowling. Now, I never really achieved my maximum potential, but that was primarily due to other priorities in life, such as career and family. But having no regrets, and regardless of the level of success I had, I've generated a lot of memories, and I've met some interesting people. And all in all, I have no complaints, as I really enjoyed the year's bowling and enjoyed the people I met through it. Unfortunately, due to some hip issues and my ankle and my back and all those aches and pains, I haven't bowled the last few years. But I do suspect maybe at some point I will join a senior league and bowl with the old guys. Others are still bowling in leagues, Inga bowls in a Abbott league that she really enjoys. Dick bowls in a men's league, and he enjoys that very much. Tommy bowls in the Caterpillar Bowling League. Kay bowls in a couple leagues. And Lexi, she's not bowling right now, but I suspect she will bowl again. Over the years, I bowled in many different types of leagues. I bowled in scratch leagues, handicap leagues, men's leagues, mixed leagues, no-tap leagues, you name it, I bowled in it. One memorable league was in the summer of 2004 when our family, the family, bowled in a summer no-tap league. Take a look at this league sheet. The trophies you see here are from 1999 through 2007 for youth adult bowling tournaments. Now, after moving back to Gurnee from Philadelphia in 1998, we started bowling at Bertrand Lanes in Waukegan in 1999. All these trophies were from Bertrand Lane youth adult tournaments. Now, before we review these trophies, let's take a quick look back at a prior trophy I won in 1971. We won the first round at Gabby Hartnett. Here's the trophy. And after winning the first round, we moved on to the city section. And that was at All-Star Lanes in Skokie, Illinois. And we won that level. We were 84 pins positive, above average, in the city section, and we won that as well. Well, welcome back. Now, starting with this trophy on your left, this is from 1999. And the interesting thing about this is that this is 28 years later after the trophy I won in 1971 as a child, and now I'm the adult. This 1999 trophy was for first place. Tommy and I won, and we had a score of 14-17. His second trophy was from 2000. Lexi and I, and we finished second place and had a score of 12-97. His third trophy is from 2003 for Tommy and I, and we finished second place, and the score was 13-40. This trophy is from 2004, and we finished first place, Lexi and I, and we had a score of 12-51. This trophy was from 2006, and it was Lexi and I, and we finished first place again, and we had a score 11-08. This last trophy was from 2007, second place, Lexi and I. And for some reason, I don't have the score of that one. So what's really interesting about this is of a span of 28 years from when I was a child to when I started bowling as an adult with my children. And it was very satisfying and rewarding to look back and look at all those awards and trophies I got and found that these were the most important to me. Why? Well, it was an opportunity for me to bowl with my son Tommy and my daughter Alexis and participate in an activity with them. So 1999 through 2007, youth adult tournaments, Bertrand Lanes, Waukegan, Illinois. There were many memorable family events, such as birthdays. So let's conclude by viewing some photos and video from those events. And thank you so much for watching this film. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again.
Your turn. Wrong one. Yeah. And here's the gallery. The gallery.
we got another turn.
Bam, are we bowling this year? Some things you never lose, and others. How it is. Okay, careful, hold it. All right, here I go. Let's see if I can throw another strike. Oh boy. Oh boy, that was terrible. Can you throw it fast?
He dropped that one. Drop that one? A little bit? No brakes. No brakes. Bim never holds his position at the line like that, ever. He's not going to turn this one as much.
experimenting from over underneath the ball to the side. Now he's on the side.
Says he's throwing it hard because he's aiming far down the alley. Now he's going to use the blue hammer because he's aiming further down, so he's throwing the ball harder. So he's going to use the blue hammer.
So what do you think he shot today?